So welcome to our first class of 2025, Recall Revolution. Woo! We love our brain. Guess what? Our brain loves us, right? And so taking care of our brain comes from working from the inside, but as well as the outside. So Recall Revolution. Why are we talking about brain health? It is a very complex thing, and this class could have gone in many different directions. The direction I chose was to give you a sampling. There's details here, but a sampling of different tools you can use to help increase and help enhance your memory, help enhance your brain health. Now, I want to show of hands how many are concerned about the future of their brain because they've had family members that have had dementia. Okay, or Alzheimer's. Yep, it is a concern. And you think, okay, I'm going to roll the dice, and where am I going to be? Am I going to get it? Well, I want to empower you so that you can have the information and use those tools so that it doesn't have to be your outcome. Human brain is by far the most complex physical object known to us in the entire cosmos. Love Thomas Edison. This was our mentor's mentor, Thomas Edison. And so this is a little different. The brain can be developed just the same as the muscles can be developed if our own will only take the pains to train the mind to think. We actually have to work at it. Like our physical body, our physical muscles, we have to work at it to get there. So how do we love our brain? Let us count the ways. So what's the number one thing? Well, our thoughts, our emotions, our physical actions are all going to affect our brain. But the number one thing, most important, is what's that top one? Sleep. Proper sleep. Gosh, we need proper sleep. 1 in 3 people do not get 8 hours of sleep or 7 hours of sleep. Sleep is so important for our brain, and the fact that what are we doing when we're sleeping? Well, we're dreaming, but we're processing what the stresses of our day, what we've encountered during the day, we're processing that. So our brain is figuring it out and putting it into the categories. It also is cleansing. We have a system called the lymphatic system that is our cerebral spinal fluid, but it's cleansing the brain of the toxins we've been exposed to all day. So when we don't sleep or get 8 hours of sleep, our brain is not cleansing, it's not flushing out those toxins. And those toxins are called amyloids. Well, they find when people who have dementia or Alzheimer's, their amyloid levels are very high. So we need that sleep to flush those toxins out. Focusing on one task at a time. Females are known for this, multitasking. Is it effective or efficient? Absolutely not. No. Your brain can only concentrate on one thing at a time. Have you ever been on the phone and be cooking dinner at the same time? Something gets amiss. You don't hear what they're saying, or you burn yourself, right? One or the other. But it's hard for your brain to do 2 things at once. If we could clone ourselves and have our bodies do 2 things at once, right? Especially moms. So you've got to concentrate on one thing at a time. Exercise regularly. You know I'm going to talk about exercise. Everybody loves the E word. We love exercise, right? Woo! Well, I'm talking about, yes, physical exercise, but we're going to get into brain exercises as well. And so exercise, high intensity exercising. So getting that heart rate up there. Sweating. Sweating is good for our body. I'll be honest, I'll admit, I don't like to sweat. I don't like to sweat. I have my personal summers throughout the day, but I don't like them. I don't like sweating. It can be in short bursts, so it doesn't have to be, oh, I gotta go to the gym for 45 minutes, and no, you don't. That's the good thing. You don't have to do that. 10-minute intervals. There are so many different YouTube channels out there that have little exercises you can do, depending on your age, your activity level, your joint level. Strength training, core, walking. Walking is excellent for our brain. Why? Because you're using your left side and your right side of your brain by walking. Left brain works the right side of the body, right brain works the left side of the body. It crosses. What's the ideal number of steps a day?
10,000?
Yes, good guess. 10,000 steps a day, yes. Writing your thoughts down. The same mentor that was mentored by Thomas Edison used to tell us, paper is cheaper than brains. I have pen and paper everywhere. So when there's a thought on your mind and you can't seem to process it, or it's bothering you and it's affecting you emotionally, write it down. Get it out. There's something cathartic about getting it out there on paper, getting it out of the mind that lifts and takes that burden off of you. And so writing those thoughts down. And I'm going to get into, well, I'll jump down. So meditation or being optimistic. Having a gratitude journal. Every night, I've been doing this for years, I have a journal that's right by my bed, and every night I write 3 to 4 things that I am grateful for during that day. And so those 3 to 4 things, I'm looking for it. And it's not the law of attraction, but it's finding me. Like I find things, and it could be, as I drove out of Ocean Pines, I saw a blue heron on the water. I love blue herons. And so that is special to me. And so I'll write that down. So just things to be grateful for goes with the optimistic, but write those thoughts down. I've talked about in nauseam about having a healthy diet, eating the rainbow, eating those foods that nourish us, staying away from the high fructose corn syrups, the things that are in a package. So excited that we're getting dyes out of our food. Yay! Known cancer-causing dyes out of our food. Last year I did a talk in October about cancer and how dyes are one of the number one things that are detrimental to our bodies. Sugars, vegetable oils. So people are always like, what are vegetable oils? Well, canola. Canola is processed oil. So being olive oil. But should you cook with olive oil? Actually not. You're not supposed to cook with olive oil because it denatures it. You want to cook with butter, and even if you have a dairy allergy, you can still cook with butter. Ghee, which they take it's only the fat of the butter is ghee, Ghee. So cooking with that, and coconut oil. Those are the oils you want to use when cooking. Keeping your mind active. How do you do that? Brain activities. A crossword puzzle. Sudoku. I'm going to get into some apps. Learning something new. Learning a language. Holy mackerel. It is so difficult to learn a new language. It is so difficult to learn a new language. And so I've been trying to learn Spanish. It is so difficult. But teaching your brain new things. So then new synapses are formed. New synapses start to happen inside there. And it keeps the brain neuroplastic. It keeps it soft. It keeps the brain soft. Eliminate toxins. You know, we live in a toxin environment. I just talked about the dyes in our food. But the bed that you sleep in probably has formaldehyde in it. If you have a plug-in in your house, get rid of it because those are just toxins that you are breathing in. We are exposed to toxins. I'm just giving a little story or background about me, my health journey, and for some of you, you know my health journey. But I did a urine test about 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, and found out I have mold in my system, mold in my body. And so there's many molds that are out there, but it was looking at the two that showed up, the one mold attacks the kidneys. And right on it, I researched it, it causes cancer. This mold causes cancer. I'm like, well, I'm getting that out of my body. We're exposed to those molds. So I'm like, where does that mold come from? Actually, our foods. It comes from rice, corn, and grains. Well, I've eliminated all grains out of my diet right now. And this is just, I've been doing the cleanse for 2 weeks now. And I don't have the aches and pains that I normally do. My joints are much happier in just 2 weeks. Now, I have a low-grade headache because I'm detoxing, so don't really like that, but I know that too will pass. Getting rid of those toxins. Meditating. Meditating changes our emotional state. It changes the chemistry of our brain. And being optimistic. I'll have patients that come in and tell me, oh, I'll never get well. You're correct, because I can't change what you're saying, the chemicals you're saying, to change that to help you get well. So being optimistic is so important. Brain is like a muscle. When it is in use, we feel very good. Understanding is joyous. So brain exercises. There are many different apps that are out there for brain exercises. Everyone has a phone. I know you might not have a smartphone. It might be a flip phone, but there are different apps. I've done Luminosity, so what it's doing, it's activities to keep your brain sharp. Elevate has a lot of math problems, so if you lean more towards math versus spatial, I'm not a spatial person. I'm not a math person. I'm a tactile. I'm a kinesthetic person. I like to touch things. That's how I learn, or I like to visualize. I'm a seer. So if I can see it, I can make it. I can figure things out that way. Zing Performance. Now, I'm going to go into a little bit more details here with Zing Performance. We have partnered with a company called Zing, and they are actually in the UK. I know not the founder, but the general manager of the company. And Dr. Chris does this program in his office in Delaware. What it is, it's teaching your cerebellum, which is here, to start working again. And so the best way for me to do this.
So, how does Zing Performance affect the brain? All of the activities in the Zing Performance program focus on working, stretching, and developing a part of the brain called the cerebellum. What is the cerebellum? The cerebellum, located at the base of the brain, is known as the brain's brain, or as we like to call it, the skills center of the whole body. It is here where we learn the skills that eventually become automatic, such as reading and writing, riding a bike, even dancing and talking. When the cerebellum is working at its best, you can carry out skills without thinking. However, when the cerebellum isn't working efficiently, it can make tasks much harder to complete and can take much longer to learn new skills. It can affect memory and concentration, all of which can be incredibly frustrating when every task feels like an uphill struggle. It doesn't have to be that way. By challenging the brain in a different way, we can stimulate and stretch the cerebellum so that it's ready to learn and retain information. So how do I challenge my brain? The experts at Zing Performance have discovered how certain coordinative activities can help develop the cerebellum. While some of the activities may seem unusual, they all work in harmony to stimulate the cerebellum and speed up the way the brain processes information. By following the program for 10 minutes twice a day, it becomes easier for the cerebellum to make activities seamless and eventually automatic, while also making learning more enjoyable. You'll be able to perform at your best. So, what new skills will you be able to learn? Redefine your potential.
So I've done this program a couple of different times, and I have more recently done it during an emotional time. So your brain starts to shut down when you are dealing with too much, when we're under stress, right? Our body system wants to conserve. And so it's it starts shutting down. And so Zing Performance are exercises, it says morning and evening, that will be like standing on one foot. Now, may not be able to do that in the beginning. I couldn't. There were things that you stand on one foot and you close your eyes. I could do it on this side, but I'm not going to be able to do it on this side. Ooh, I'm actually good today. So, but there's, like you do the finger to the nose, it's coordinating left side of your brain, your right side of your brain. So they're the very simple exercises to help get this portion working more efficiently and the cerebellum working more efficiently. It is called our second brain, the cerebellum. But it's CereFit. They have for ADHD, that's where it first started. The program first started for children with ADHD. It's CereFit, is more for geriatric, older population, those that have balance issues. There's a sports one and there's a fourth one. I don't remember the fourth one. So memory is not confined to your brain. I talk an extensive and about this as far as what we're putting in our bodies. Why do we have you on supplements? Because our foods don't have the nutrients that they used to. Even if you're organic, it's still not the same. So eating a plant-rich diet, not out of a box, not carbs, but like I said, eating the rainbow. Omega-3s. Omega-3s are so important. And I'm going to go into, this might be a touchy subject, but statins, cholesterol medications. We actually need cholesterol in our body. Cholesterol is used for our hormones. It's the precursor of all our hormones, cholesterol, as well as we need it for our brain. We need it for the synapses to be firing correctly. So the drug companies, yay, used to be 250 was the number. If your cholesterol is above 250, 260, you need to be on cholesterol medication. Well, they brought it down to 200, and even if you're 180, they don't like your numbers at 180. So this has caused an increase in dementia for people that are on cholesterol medications, where it also depletes you of something called CoQ10. CoQ10 is a vitamin that our body needs to help those synapses, help our heart, help our brain, and statins deplete you of that nutrient. So you need to be on CoQ10 if you're on a statin. You need to be on omega-3s. Our body gets a lot of omega-6s, and that's our seed oils, but omega-3s are our fish oils, flaxseed, eggs, olive oil. Again, not cooking it, but using it raw, meaning for your salad dressings. Avoid high fructose corn syrup. Again, another man-made thing that depletes us of nutrients. Our body then can't absorb those nutrients that we are eating because high fructose corn syrup has started to bind in our binding sites. Mitochondria. You remember this from chemistry in high school or college? Our powerhouse of our cell. It's the thing that creates our energy, ATP. It creates the energy of our cells. And so as we, again, mature, these things start to diminish, and our brain isn't getting the nutrients it needs to work properly. So ATP, adenosine triphosphate, raising NAD levels. So NAD, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. Say that 10 times fast. Nicotinamide. This is responsible for 500 different functions of our body. The main thing is our brain. Nitric oxide. NAD levels, we want to boost collagen that go with NAD. They work synergistically together. So we need collagen for elasticity, right? Elasticity of our skin, our joints. Collagen decreases, the joints get stiffer, the skin starts to sag. So collagen and NAD work together. And we want to boost circulation. So I'm actually going to give you a test. A test. I want each of you to get some spit in your mouth. Yep. You want to do that? So this is it's 20 seconds, this test. So what I am looking at is your nitric oxide level. Nitric oxide is a nutrient in our body that when we hit 40 starts to decrease. Well, how do we get nitric oxide? Nitric oxide it's right over here.
Thank you.
Nitric oxide is in beets. It's in arugula. That's where we find nitric oxide. So we need the nitric oxide for circulation of our brain, circulation throughout our body. We like to call nitric oxide the natural Viagra. Circulation. Detoxing. So I'm going through this detox. So I'm on multiple different new supplements. Glutathione. Glutathione is the main detox component of our liver. That's what flushes it all out. So we need to bind it and flush it out of our system. And so making sure our glutathione is high. How do we get glutathione? Avocado, cruciferous vegetables. That's what I was told. I need to eat broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, asparagus. Yeah, guess what that does to your gut? I'm tooting all the time now because I'm eating it almost every day. You want 2 to 3 bowel movements a day. When I have patients come in and say, do you have constipation? No. How many do you have a bowel movement every day? No. How often? Twice a week? Twice a week! And the doctors think it's okay. Yes. Every day. Food goes in, stuff must come out. Yes, that's the way it should be. Meditation. Mr. Doug, you know a lot about this one. And so, meditation, it creates that mind-body connection to the ground. Grounding pads. We actually just got a grounding sheet on our bed just the last couple of days. That was my Valentine's Day gift. Do I notice a difference? The only thing I notice is I don't have night sweats. It's the only thing I've noticed. I'm not sleeping any difference, but I'm not having the night sweats. I would have night sweats pretty much the hot flashes all night. So that's better. I'll take that. We're connecting. Meditation, so many articles are out there, how it lowers blood pressure, lowers heart rate, helps lower cholesterol naturally. So our stress hormones, our cortisol levels, our stress hormones, relaxing that. You become more aware. You become more aware of your environment. And that's what witness. So one article that I read showed that meditation, they did this long-term study, meditation showed to decrease medical costs from $600 to $25,000 a year. I couldn't believe it. When I was reading this article, I was like, what? I mean, published article that talks about how meditation can reduce your need for medical care. Crazy. Well, but if you think about it, God wants to commune with us, and so we're communing with Him when we center into ourselves. We're communing with our higher power. And 20 minutes a day, quiet, right? Quiet. 20 minutes a day. Take those shoes off. Get your feet on the earth. During the snow, yes. Not quite. But get the feet on the earth. Allow the energy of the earth, the vibration coming through you. And then you just become aware. You become a witness. You're breathing. You focus on your breath. And then you just listen. You just listen to what's around you. If you're not out in nature, you're just listening to what is around you. I was going to have you guys do like a 2-minute meditation session, but I did not do that. The greatest medicine is at our fingertips. We're exposed to it every day in plants. essential oils. So, you get to grab your little atomizer, your inhaler. So in here are 3 different essential oils. They are rosemary, wait. Essential oils come from plants. Let me get into that first. They are there to heal. They heal the plant, to fight off predators, to heal the earth. You use them aromatically, topically, or internally. This is what we're doing, is aromatic, and I will show you topically. Quality is key. There are no regulations, unfortunately, for the essential oil business or industry, and so you can go to a health food store and it'll say 100% pure. Lemon oil. You should be able to take it internally. It's taken from a lemon, squeezed, pressed out. It's a lemon. You should be able to take it internally. If you go someplace and it says for external use only, it's adulterated. Pretty much the majority of essential oils that are out there are adulterated. I've been a part of doTERRA. I was thinking about this. I think it has been 12, 13 years now that I have been a part of doTERRA. I stand by them. I wouldn't. I mean, this is our reputation, it's your health. I'm not going to compromise with that. And so I stand by doTERRA. So the oils to help concentration, rosemary. You cook with it, right? You put it in your soups, you put it in your food. Now, it is stimulating memory. This was the #1 oil for memory production or memory concentration. Peppermint, we have that in my roller blend. I'm going to pass that around. Linseed. Linseed is a citrus plant, and that promotes feelings of balance. There's so many good properties or good things about peppermint oil. I mean, when you look at the book, pages of benefits of peppermint. So what you're smelling here is the Focus and Clarity Inhaler. It has rosemary, fir, and let's see. And so they talk about if you're studying, if you need to recall that information, to smell it while you're doing that task, and then it'll help you recall when you are testing. That's what Thinker is. I'm going to pass this one around, and you can roll it on your wrists. This has the peppermint in it. So this has vetiver, clementine, peppermint, and rosemary in it. I really like this one. It's diluted, so it has fractionated coconut oil with it. You don't even smell the rosemary, you smell the peppermint. That's the main thing you smell in the blend. It is for children, but adults can use it as well. Test, don't guess. So how do you know your brain health? How do you know where you are? Well, we do here something called a BBI test, the Brain, Bone, and Inflammation Test. We want to know where your markers are. We want to know where your numbers are. Because if you don't know where your numbers are, you don't know where you're going. It's like you're shooting for a target that's not even there. Most doctors don't do omega-3 or omega-6 tests. That is very rare that they perform that. Vitamin D is a separate test. It is not a part of the regular panel. I have been now doing vitamin D testing 7 years, and first time we do vitamin D test, I'm going to say 90% of the people are depleted. And we learned a lot about that during COVID, how those that had the lowest vitamin D had a harder time recovering, had a harder time getting well, because we need vitamin D for 900 functions of our body. The main thing we need it for, obviously, our bone, but depression, that's why the sun, when we see the sun, we're like, woo, 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 because that gets us out of that depressive state. Right now we would have to stand in the outside when there is sun naked for hours to get the vitamin D level we need. I'm not doing that. Inflammation, it's histological, C-reactive protein. This test is looking for. Homocysteine. Homocysteine is a chemical in our brain. If it is high, it is bad. Arachidonic acid is another one for our heart. So we're looking at brain, bone, and inflammation. You will actually have that test tomorrow. Yes. So what we're doing with our class is, because you are here and because we're celebrating 23 years in practice, you would be getting a discount if it is not in your care plans. For those that it is not in their care plans, you would be getting a discount on that test to find out what your numbers are, where your baseline is. Right? Wouldn't we? We'd astound the world if we did all that we're called to do, or all the things we're capable of doing. I would be remiss if I did not talk about chiropractic in this whole talk. Chiropractic has a direct communication or a correlation with the brain and spinal cord. When we adjust, it's a feedback loop that affects the nerves. The nerves send the signal to the brain sends new signals down the spinal cord out to the organs. So when a subluxation is present, when that bone is out of alignment, putting pressure on that nerve, it cuts off that communication. So it's like stepping on a water hose. It's the communication's not going to come out correctly. And so by finding a chiropractor that corrects subluxations, that looks and analyzes the spine, is key, is so important. So I have my daughter-in-law here with my 1-year-old granddaughter who was running around here before. Poppy is taking care of her right now. Lucky guy. And so she has been adjusted since she is 6 hours old. I watched her being born. I saw what they did to get her out. I saw what they did to her neck, and I was like, as a chiropractor, I thought I would die. And watched that she couldn't turn her head, and it was hard to nurse on one side versus the other. So after 6 hours, was able to adjust her, and it was just a light adjustment. And she is, if she went to the doctor, she'd be in the 90 percentile. She is amazing, right? Yes. And so she has been adjusted since she is less than 24 hours old, which is incredible. So get adjusted, find a good chiropractor. So products to support memory. We've talked about a lot of different things. Obviously, vitamin D3 with K. We talked about curcumin. Inflammation. I didn't really go into that. Let me go into omega-3s. We talked obviously about omega-3s. Having the right omegas to support our brain and cardiovascular health. Curcumin. Curcumin helps with inflammation. That's actually our next talk in April, is inflammation, body inflammation. True Niagen is what I talked about, having those healthy NAD levels. For those that are doTERRA, they have collagen and NAD in their packet. I don't know if you have gotten this yet, or if you have gotten this. So it's called MetaPower. So it is empowering the cells. This empowers the cells. It is a powder, so you can dissolve it. This one's lemon lime, and they have a cherry pomegranate now flavoring. And this helps with the collagen. So I've been taking this for like a month and a half, and that's as well lubricates the joints. Nitric oxide, you got tested. You see where you are in your amount of nitric oxide circulation. And then being on a nutraceutical or quality multivitamin. If you are getting your vitamin from Walmart, from GNC, from Rite Aid, eat the label. There is more nutrients in that label than there is in that vitamin. There are so many toxins in a regular multivitamin. Make sure you're getting good quality and you have the right form of bees. What I'm talking about there is we need B's again, energy for our brain, for our nerve conduction, B vitamins. But if you look at B12, it's cobalamin. That's not the root, that's the base of it. Now there's methylcobalamin, there's cyanocobalamin. Cyano, C-Y-A-N-O, is the cheaper form of B12. Cyano is also in cyanide, same root. So it is the cheaper form, not good for your body. But when you get your multivitamin, you think you're doing good and you don't look, you want methylcobalamin. Same with methylfolate, folate. You don't want folic acid, you want methylfolate. And then there's some of us, I'm so special in so many ways, yes. I have something called MTHFR. B5, I can't process. I have a genetic disorder, it's a genetic variant in my blood, in my system, that I need the raw form of B5 for me to absorb it. If I have B5 in the form that's typically, my body can't absorb it, and then I'm deficient in it. Yes, I have that. Love those wonderful things that God has put in my body. But I've learned so that I can help others grow with that as well. Next steps, get tested, know your numbers. You need a baseline. I have patients that take high volumes of vitamin D, and then I test them. I'm like, okay, you get to back off. There is no really research when numbers are very high. The range is from 30 to 100. That's a huge range. The medical doctors will say anything over 30, 40, you're good. Like I said, we've learned in COVID, you need to be in the 60 to 80 range. That's where your vitamin D should be. I have patients that recently was 128. I'm like, okay, you can back off on your vitamin D. You don't need to take that every day. Just slow down. Your body absorbs it. You're good. But there's no research out there what happens when your vitamin D is too high. But as you guys know, it's moderation. It's having that balance. So get tested. Start changing your habits. If you know that there is a thing that you struggle with, little steps. We want little steps so that you're moving in the right direction. Say mentors would tell me you're either green and growing or you're ripe and rotting. I don't want to be ripe and rotting, that stinks. Yeah, my cruciferous vegetables give me enough of that right now. But there's no middle ground, there's no coasting. We're either here or here. Actually, our pastor talked about that at church on Sunday. There's no, you're either going up or you're going down. Brain exercises, look on those apps. Look into Zinc Performance. We'll be more than happy to talk with you about that. Meditation, start the right supplements. If you have any questions regarding that, talk to me. I will be more than willing to sit down with you if you have questions. We have different tools that we can test to see where your baseline is, not just blood testing, but we have a nutritional analysis that you can do online and go on and see and fill out a questionnaire that will give us a baseline. And it goes through 7 body systems or 7 functional systems. So it's looking at cardiovascular, it's looking at our stress, it's looking at our sleep, it's looking at our strength. And so we can look and see where that line is or where you are, and it gives suggestions based on your findings. Our next workshop, antioxidants, anti-inflammatory. So last year, the end of last year, we did a survey. We had patients fill out a survey of classes that you guys wanted. This was the #1 class. That's why I'm shocked that there's not more people here, but I'm hoping they're going to watch it online because this was the #1 class that people wanted, was brain health. The other one was balance, and I will be doing a webinar on that. That's in the middle of the year. So fall prevention, balance, like those things. But this third one was anti-inflammatory. How can we control our inflammation naturally? So that is on April 22nd. I want to thank you for being here this evening, for participating. We thank you online for participating, and we say blessings to you, and stay healthy. Thank you.